Okay, for this, we're going to do just a plain white traditional sailor's hat for this video, okay? Oops, sorry, hit the camera. Okay, I forgot to mention, if you want to make your brim smaller on here, just cut it down. You can cut it down easily. Just make sure that when you do cut it down, you always cut it down on the edge of the rim, not the inside, because you need that inside to fit properly. So if you want to make a smaller brim, just cut in from this side here. This one's like 1.5 inches brim, so just cut the outside all the way around, and you can make it as thin as you want. But remember, you're going to have a 1/4 inch here and a 1/4 inch here, so this little 1.5 brim is going to be a very small brim, so it's going to be looking something like this on your hat. So just remember, when you do that, you're going to get a completely different look on your hat. Okay, so for my for the white sailor's hat, we're going to need 2 brims. Okay, I've got 1 and 2 cut out. We're going to need 10 of the triangles, whatever you want to call them, for the inside and the outside, the inside and the outside of the cap. Okay, because I'm using this white material is from Walmart. It's just the plain white cotton, and it's very flimsy. See how flimsy it is? This is the $2.97 a yard. It's not bad quality. It's a nice cotton, but because it is so thin, we're going to have to line the brim with a little bit of extra body, give it a little bit of extra weight. So for this yellow one here, I used sheer weight, fusible, featherweight, well, sheer weight. This isn't featherweight. This is sheer weight Pellon, and it's iron-on, but it only irons on one side. So when you get it, it looks like this. I've already cut one out, so I know. I think this was $1.66 a yard. It comes in different weights. So let's just say you're going to want to use this, and you're not sure which side is the fusible side. What I do is I take a hot iron and I put it on my ironing board, and I just tap the edge. If it sticks to the iron, you know you're on the wrong side of the. But if it sticks to your cloth or whatever you're sewing, then you know you're on the right side. Okay, so the opposite side is your stickum side. So I'm going to turn this over, and I'm going to get the piece that I want to line. This is the easy way I do it. This is how I do it. Instead of having to cut out another whole pattern piece, I take the piece that I want to line and I lay it across the interfacing, just like this. And you try not to waste as much interfacing as you can. Okay, so that's my piece that I want to be faced. So I'm going to take my, I hope you can see this, so I'm going to take my iron, and I'm just going to dab around my pattern piece. You can't see from that angle. I'm going to just dab around my pattern piece. Just dab it here and there. If you've got one of those small irons, that works too. So what you're trying to do is you're just trying to fuse it enough so that you can cut it out easily. Okay, so you're just fusing it instead of having to cut and then cut it out and then try to match it up. It's just easy to lay your pattern piece on top and then just cut it out from there. If you've got one of those little craft irons, those work really good with this technique too. It's just so much easier to do it this way instead of, usually I only dab it in a few spots just to hold it on so I have it right. Okay, let's see. Did it stick? Mostly. Okay. Stick up here. Yeah. Stuck enough. Okay. Alright, so now that you've got it stuck on, it's easy to just cut it out. Okay? And you don't have to worry about any of it getting on your iron because you're cutting it out directly. This isn't the easiest thing to do on. Let me just do it here. Do it fast. Okay. All right. So now we can just cut it out. If you read the directions on there, it says use a damp cloth and do this and do that. I don't do any of that. It's just, as long as you don't get it on your iron, you're fine. Even if you do get it on your iron, a little bit of something, I think it's alcohol or something, will just wipe it right off. Okay, so now that we've got that all cut off, let's go ahead and fuse it down better. Okay, so there we go. I didn't cut that completely right. Okay, so now we've got lightweight, shear weight. I keep saying lightweight, it's shear weight, right? Yeah, this one's shear weight. Okay, so now we've got one side with interfacing on it, fusible interfacing. So now we're ready to sew. Let me get rid of that. Put this one away. Okay, so there's that. So I'm going to have white thread on my machine, and first thing we're going to do is we are going to sew our edges together, 1/4 of an inch. So just turn those together like that, and make sure you're in camera. Okay, so we're using 1/4 of an inch seams, and we are just going to, oh sorry, let me move this over, I keep hitting it. Are you in view? Yeah, okay. It's getting dark outside. We're getting a really bad storm tonight. So, let's go ahead and get started here. So, 1/4 of an inch, we're just going to sew those together just like that. Now we're going to do the same thing to the other one. There's no right or wrong side on this, so you don't have to worry about it. Okay, so 1/4 of an inch here. So now we've got both of our brims sewn together at the end. We're going to open up our seam, and you can press it with your iron, or you can just finger press it. Okay, same with this one. Just open it up. I don't know what kind of bird that was. Okay, so that's that one. So now we're going to take our brims and we're going to sew the bottoms only together. So with the right sides together, you're going to match that seam up right there, just like that. And we are going to pin it, and we're going to sew these together. They're exactly the same piece, so they should match perfect if you've got a 1/4 inch seam on each one. So let me turn this inside out, and we are sewing the ends together. Now because we are cutting sort of in a circle on here, or an angle, you might have a little bit of stretch on the bias, so try not to stretch anything. Just even them up, sew them together. Now some people just turn this without putting little notches in without clipping the edge. I clip it because I think you get a nicer finish when you clip them. I mean, you don't have to because they'll just gather, they'll just smush together, but I like clipping this edge. Okay, so that's the last one there. And we're good to go. Everything's matched up. Turn it inside out and check it out. That looks pretty good. Okay, so we're going to sew 1/4 inch again, all the way around the outside. Matched up with that other seam. Cut your threads. Okay, make sure if you're still in seam. Okay, so just cut your threads. Okay, so take your scissors and you're just going to make a few clips around here. Nothing drastic, just every once in a while clip them. And the reason for that is when you turn them inside out, they'll sort of overlap each other, and it'll just lay nice and flat. You'll just get a nice finish. Okay, good enough. Okay, so now we're going to turn it inside out. And we're going to even out that seam so it's right to the edge. Okay, a little bit of pressure on here and you'll get those seams right apart. You can iron it out if you want to, but you don't really have to. Okay, so now that that's out there, so you're going to put them together. And then we're going to take a pin or whatever and we're going to pull those edges out so they're nice and smooth. Okay, and then we're going to pin it. And once we have all those out and ready to sew, we're going to do our layers of top stitching. Okay, so you want that edge smooth. You can use one of those turning devices if you have one of those. I don't even know what they're called, but I've seen them where they just slip them underneath and I guess it's something like this, but not quite. And you just put it in your sewing and then just push your edges out. I forget what they're called. I've seen them, but I don't have one. Almost like a bone. Yeah, one of those like whale bones. Turning bones or whatever they're called. I don't have one. I probably wouldn't use it anyway. I guess it's just something to get used to, whether you have one or not. Okay, I think this is it for this part of the video anyway. So I'm just going to keep going around, and I'm going to make sure all my edge is nice and smooth all the way around. And then once I have that laid down flat, we're going to start our rows of stitching just like this. That's exactly how I did this. We're just going to pull it, smooth it out, and then we're going to start our rows of stitching. Okay, so when I come back, I'll have this all smoothed out, and we'll start the stitching now.